And welcome to Sullivan Smart Sense. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Today we are talking about something I know so many people are interested and frustrated by at the same time, and that is buying a home in this very hot housing market. But we are here to encourage you because there's some help out there if you are kind of struggling to get into this housing market, particularly if maybe you have a lower or more moderate income. There are some resources out there that can really help you. Before we dive into that, I want to talk a little bit about the real estate market because I've been reporting on this quite a bit lately. I've talked with several real estate analysts. And one thing I want to talk about is I know a lot of people feel like they have been kind of priced out of home buying right now because prices have gone up so much. And I think a lot of people, I've heard from a lot of people who say, well, I'm going to wait until prices come back down. I did a story recently where a number of real estate analysts all said the same thing, and it's not what you want to hear. But this is not a bubble. They don't foresee home prices coming back down. In 2008, we had the bubble and home prices escalated. And then, of course, everything went kerplooey and those home prices came down. But the real estate analysts now say that's not what the case is this time. They do expect home prices to continue to climb. The good news is they're not going to climb at the same rate they've been climbing. It should slow down a little bit. We still have problems with a shortage of inventory on the market. We still have not enough home building going on because of the supply, the wood shortages and all of those kind of things. It's all kind of starting to get a little bit better. But so I say all of that because real estate experts say if you're really serious about buying a home, you still want to be serious about staying in the market and seeing what you can do to make that happen. And that is also because interest rates are about to start going up. The Fed has said that it expects to raise interest rates up to 4 times this year, and a couple times next year, and a couple times the year after that. So that means that they usually go up about 0.25% at a time. And so they're expected to go up incrementally. The good news is the overall interest rates on mortgages are still very low in terms of, historical perspective on that. And it will only go up incrementally. But what you want to keep in mind is if you're waiting for a better price for a house, the problem is that percentage rate on your mortgage is going to keep going up until you finally make that purchase, and your actual payments will be higher because of that. You might be able to afford less house than you would if you buy sooner than later. So that's why I want to say, don't just, sort of pull yourself out. There still is an opportunity for you to get into the home buying market if you really want to. Of course, you also want to think about staying at least 5 years is kind of the general rule of thumb to make sure that you're getting your money's worth and starting to have invested enough that when you do sell the home, you might be able to turn a profit on that. Today, we're going to talk about some helpful resources. I did a story on this, more than a year ago, because so many more people were taking advantage of these programs to help them buy homes, particularly first-time home buyers. And the story that I did on it was enormously popular. And so I really wanted to talk about it some more today. And so just to give you a little preview of what we're going to be talking about, I have a guest from the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, and they have a number of different home buyer programs to help people get their homes. There are down payment assistance grants. There are a couple of programs called Home for Texas Heroes and Home Sweet Texas. And then we're also going to talk about something called Mortgage Credit Certificate. And when I did this story, and I was hoping to show it to you, but I'm having a little technological problem. But when I did this story, I interviewed a woman who received, I believe it was a $12,000, or maybe it was even an $18,000 grant for her down payment. She thought she would never, as a single mother, be able to buy a home on her own. And she got a grant that gave her that down payment, and it made that dream come true. So let me bring into the conversation. This is Janelle Levesque from the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Heather. I'm so excited to be here. I look forward to any opportunity to tell folks about the programs TSHEC has to offer them.
Yeah, and I love that there are these great programs out there about them. But last time we had talked, you were seeing, I think you had mentioned about a 20% increase in people coming to you inquiring about these programs. Now that we're a little further, actually maybe turning the corner on the whole pandemic, but what are you seeing now? Are you seeing that continued high interest?
Amazingly so. We actually have continued to see growth even through the pandemic. The pandemic was our two biggest years in history. We served nearly 23,000 home buyers last year, and that's compared to 16,000 home buyers the year before. So a huge amount of growth. And I think what's amazing to me about that is that there are still a lot of renters out there who qualify for a mortgage loan today, but don't even know that they qualify. They feel that hurdle of the down payment is what's holding them back. And that's where T-Shack comes in.
Yeah. And some great, great, exciting programs. So let's just dive right into that and talk a little bit about some of the home buying programs that you guys have.
Sure. So T-Shack offers two different types of assistance to home buyers. The first type of assistance that we have is our down payment assistance program, which comes in the form of a grant. As you mentioned, you interviewed a home buyer last year who took advantage of that grant opportunity. And the grant can be anywhere from 3 to 5% of a home buyer's loan amount. So an example, if a home buyer were to be borrowing $300,000, they could get up to $15,000 to assist them in purchasing that home. And that can help cover their down payment and or closing cost. So it's a great opportunity for folks. And then the other type of assistance we have, which you mentioned, is our mortgage credit certificates program. That one I would like to say has probably been Texas's best kept secret, honestly. We don't want it to be a secret anymore. And MCC gives a first-time home buyer the opportunity to claim an income tax credit equal to 20% of the mortgage interest that they pay each year. And they get to do this every year for the life of the loan as long as they're living there. So as an example, if they paid $10,000 in interest in any given year, then they get to get $2,000 of that back on their income tax return. That's very significant and huge for folks who, struggle making ends meet. That might mean the difference between them getting a new car, or that might even help them pay one of those mortgage payments. So it's a very significant amount. And something else I forgot to mention, the down payment assistance in and of itself does not require you to be a first-time home buyer either. So it may be that you've owned a home in the past, or you own a home now and you don't have enough equity when you sell that home to buy the next home. So you can use our assistance. So again, we have two types of assistance: down payment assistance and the mortgage credit certificates.
That is awesome. Well, let's kind of dive in, because I think when you were talking about, there's a lot of renters out there who don't realize that they could be homeowners. And because they think they don't qualify. But let's talk about the qualifications.
That's a great point. Qualifications, you mentioned low to moderate income home buyers, and I think a lot of folks tend to think that they don't meet those requirements, but shockingly so, many of us do. So we do have two programs that folks can use under our assistance types. And one way is through our Homes for Texas Heroes home loan program. And that is open to people in specific professions. Some of those professions include firefighters, police officers, teachers, and veterans. And that's just to name a few of those professions. But I don't want to discourage folks from thinking that they wouldn't qualify because they don't meet that profession requirement, because we also have our Home Sweet Texas home loan program. And that is open to anyone, regardless of profession. But I will say that all of our assistance programs do require that you meet certain income limits. And those income limits are going to be based on the county in which you're purchasing your home. But as an example, I looked at the Houston area, greater Houston area, all the counties surrounding Houston. I looked at the income limits, and depending on which assistance type you're using, those income limits can be as high as $99,000 a year. So that's quite a lot. And that includes a lot more folks than what they might have imagined.
Yeah, that's really encouraging and really broadens it to so many people.
Yes.
I noticed on your website one, and I'll show the link to your website, a kind of a questionnaire or quiz that helps people sort of figure out whether they can qualify for this. And then there also are some classes. So can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, the quiz. I love the quiz. It really, I don't want to call it, sometimes when people hear quiz, they think it's intimidating, but
Yeah,
it really is
not a hard
simple
quiz.
right? The nightmares of coming back from school and quizzes. Yeah, pop quizzes. No, it's a simple quiz. It's 4 simple questions. It asks you, what county are you purchasing in and what your profession is to decide if you belong in the Texas Heroes or the Home Sweet Texas program. And I want to remind everyone, you don't have to meet a Texas Heroes profession to qualify. So it asks you what your profession is. It will also ask you if you're a first-time home buyer or not, because there are different programs that require you to be a first-time home buyer and others that don't. And then it will ask you what county you're looking at purchasing in. And then that will provide you the income limits specific to that county. And what this does is it helps you determine if you qualify for our assistance. Now, I want to point out you still must qualify for a mortgage loan. Just because you qualify for the assistance doesn't mean that you qualify for the mortgage loan. But that's where I would suggest that you take the next step, and that is getting qualified by a loan officer. But ultimately, one of the things I also want to mention is that, TSHAC is here to help you buy a home, but our ultimate goal is to make successful home owners. So we want you to maintain your home and be able to hold on to your home for the life of the loan or until you can pay it off, right? So we want to make sure that you're a successful homeowner. So one of the things that TSHAC requires is that in order to receive our assistance, we do require that you take a homebuyer education class. We have seen that homebuyer education classes greatly improves people's success as homeowners, and they are less likely to fall behind on their mortgage loan if they have taken homebuyer education. So that's important. But the nice thing about homebuyer education, if this whole process is new to you and it's overwhelming and it's confusing, homebuyer education is a great first step because it will teach you terminology, it'll teach you the process, it'll teach you the pitfalls of home ownership, so you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, and I think it takes away that nervousness once you sort of understand the process better. Then you're not going to be so intimidated or uncomfortable or feel like you're
Exactly.
just kind of treading water, that you're not familiar with. Let's just talk a little bit about this market in general, because you were saying earlier you're getting a lot of interest, and a lot of people watching might still go, "Oh, but I just can't buy into this market. It's such a crazy market." What are your thoughts on that, and how would you advise someone to kind of best prepare themselves?
That's great. We were just talking about being educated, and that I think is a great first step. When you're intimidated by a process, the more you know, the less intimidated you are, right? So our website is a great resource. The homebuyer education class is a great resource. But on our website, we also have some wonderful podcasts that we produce. And in that podcast, we interview industry experts on everything from shopping for your first home all the way through to paying your home off. So in those interviews, we have a lot of great tips for folks on, how to get started and what to do. And actually, we were talking about the competitive market. We just recently did an episode called Tips for Winning the Bid in a Competitive Market. So, there are a lot of tips out there. And I think that, educating yourself on the tips on how to win a bid can really help you. And TSHAC has some tips on how you can use TSHAC to help you win the bid. One of those things might be, imagine a seller getting 2 comparable offers. It's the same sales price. 2 offers come in and they see, oh, they're offering the same sales price. Well, then they want to look at, well, who's more likely to get approved, right? Who's going to be able to for sure close on this loan? Maybe that is the person who has more down payment. So maybe you're a home buyer who already has saved for your 3 or 5% down payment, but you want to be sure to be a little bit more competitive in your bid. So you use a TSHAC grant to add to your down payment. And then you can say, I'm putting down 10% versus 3%, which makes your bid look a little bit more appealing to someone with less money down. So, I mean, there's just so many tips out there, and it's about educating yourself, knowing what options are available to you. And I think our podcast can help you with some of those things.
That's awesome. I love that there are so many resources. I want people to check that out. How can people reach out to you? And then just talk a little bit about kind of the change of, I mean, this can change someone's life to be able to buy a home. It changes your financial picture, definitely. But how can people reach out to you? And what kind of an impact have you seen this make on some of the people that you've helped?
So how you can reach out to us, we have, we've mentioned several times about our wonderful resource, and I'm sure you'll send the link. Yeah, there it is. tshac.org, tsahc.org. We have, like I said, a lot of wonderful resources, and on that website, we'll even provide you with the steps on how to get started. So definitely go to our website to find out more. But ultimately, in answer to your second part of your question, I would say that the best part of our programs is many of these folks didn't even believe that their dream of home ownership could be a reality. And with the help of TSHAC's down payment assistance, dreams really do come true. So, I mean, that's the biggest impact I've seen on people's lives is being able to watch someone who, maybe calls us and says, I would really like to be a homeowner, and I just don't know if it's possible. And then watching them move into their home. I mean, I tell people all the time, I have my dream job because I'm getting to help people make their dreams come true.
That's awesome. I want your job.
I mean, I get to do, I jokingly say, how many people out there get to give away free money, right?
Yeah.
So we get to watch people's dreams come true, and it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad we got a chance to talk and share this with people. And I hope people will respond and look up this opportunity, because it could really make a lot of difference for a lot of people. And hopefully we have encouraged people not to be so intimidated by this housing market right now. So Jana,
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. So again, we're talking today about resources that are available for you that can help you, break into this housing market. You may be able to qualify for that grant for your down payment and or any other of the programs to just get that assistance to help you make that home purchase possible. So definitely look at that website, take a look at those resources. And once again, I'm going to just show you the different programs that are there. This is the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. They have the home buyer programs, down payment assistance grants. There's a program called the Homes for Texas Heroes and Home Sweet Texas. And of course, we also talked about that mortgage credit certificate. All of that may be able to help you. So please take a look at that. I'm going to show you one more time the website, which is right here. It's tsahc.org. So check that out. We'll put a link on fox26houston.com. But thank you so much. I'm going to try and remember, when you're navigating your own show. Okay, there it is. There I am. All right. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm going to try and come back on the air again here, at least on Facebook this week, to talk about ways to save on gas prices, because I know that is just a huge, huge issue for all of us right now. So we're going to recap a little later this week, ways, different apps, different things that you can do to try and save some money on gas prices, because it looks now like we are in for the long haul with dealing with that. And next week, we're also going to talk about how you can shave money out of your monthly budget by refinancing your car. I have a great expert that's going to talk about that, and that can really help you with your budget right now with all of these escalating prices and inflation. So thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you again soon.